How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring along with me to show you how I color grade my Sony A7 IV and A7S3 Slog F3 footage. So let's jump right into it. I've made a video before showcasing how I used to color grade my Sony A7 III Slog 2 footage, and a lot of you guys kind of liked it and have been asking me how I color grade my Slog 3 footage. So I thought it was a proper time to update that video and showcase how I color grade my A7 IV and A7S3 Slog 3 footage. That way it might help you guys out and see what you guys think. Well, since it's kind of not the most phenomenal weather outside, we're still gonna go outside. That's why I'm wearing this nice winter coat, if you will, of a jacket to be able to go and take some video outside, even though depending on the situation we'll see what we can find to use. But we're gonna be shooting at 4K 24 frames with both cameras, 4K 60, one of them is gonna be cropped, the other one's not, the 4K 120, and then also the 1080p 120 frames per second at 10-bit from the A7 IV, and show you how I color grade each of them, kind of, you know, my setup of basically with LUTS and how I color correct and everything that I do for myself, and see if it helps you guys out. I'll be straight up, I use my own personal LUTS with these you know, color grading stuff, so it's just gonna be personal preference, but hopefully you enjoy it. So now we're here, gonna take some video with the Sony A7S3 and A7 IV and Slog 3, and then we'll be back to the office to do some color grading and show you my process and see if it helps you out. Well, we are done taking the footage. Didn't really want to do so much B-roll right now because it is raining and I don't feel like getting too much lenses and everything out. But we're gonna head home so I can show you guys. Man, that music is loud. So I can show you guys a little bit more of the editing. So let's make our way home.
Take the next umbrella.
Ooh, my foot just got really wet. That very cold water went into my foot, and it's not the most ideal feeling right now because at least Fahrenheit is only 48, so that's not too horrible. But when you're wearing just normal shoes and water goes in, not nice. But you gotta do what you gotta do to create the content. See, we don't get a lot of cold days here in Texas, and when we do, they just suck because they're more humid, cold, and it just makes it pretty sucky because sometimes you go from like, well, 30 degrees Celsius to like -2 and less than 24 hours, and that's what sucks because here you don't get, you know, as a gradual incline into the weather like other, I don't know, states and cities and countries might have with their seasons. Nah, Texas just likes to bring in the random bipolar weather every day. 3 seasons in one day? Sure. Let's go with one whole day of heat. All right. Next day, let's go for the sub-zero freezing weather? Sure. So yeah, welcome to Texas. So I've imported all my footage here into Premiere Pro. Basically just how I do it, I just kind of have my folders of the videos that I have, and then I just already spaced them out. So these first 3 will be the Sony A7S3 and the other 3 will be the A7 IV, and then I'll kind of go along with it. Usually what I do is I import like adjustment layers, so that way I can edit, like put my LUTs first, and then I go back to kind of color correct things, just because it's a lot easier for me to kind of see how the colors are looking. So I just go to the creative tab and go to the custom LUT right here for the kind of like the back to Rec 709. And then I go to add my color LUT, which is my own that I've created. And then bam. So that way you can kind of see what each of them does. So that's the Slog 3. Well, I guess we'll put a frame where her eyes are open. And then this is the Rec 709, and then this is the LUT that I have. And then from there, I start kind of going to the color wheels and just sometimes I put the lumetri scopes just to kind of see what they're all doing and whatnot, to showcase like, okay, how well was it with the white balance and everything. So I just kind of start bringing the shadows down a little bit. I bring the midtones quite a bit down sometimes, just because I want everything to kind of get a little bit more dynamic range, and then bring out the highlights if I need to. And then from there I can do my basic corrections. I sometimes like bring up the exposure a little bit, bring down the whites just because I want to crush them out a little bit. Maybe the blacks down and the shadows just ever so slightly. Sometimes add a little bit of saturation, but nothing too much. Don't want to overdo it. And then from there, I do the HSL secondary. So I just kind of try to get the skin tone right there, select it, and then start messing with this section just to kind of make sure that I get as much of just this section that I really care about. Kind of hold down the mouse as you do this, and then you just do the denoise and then blur, so that way it doesn't affect as sharply. And then I can kind of bring up the face so that it like shows up a little bit. Maybe if I want to do a little bit more temperature, just enough so that you can see the before and after. Nothing too crazy, but it just adds a little bit more pop to it. And that's basically all I do when it comes down to just the color grading for my footage. So that way if I play it back, this is what it looks like with everything. And then if I were to do it without, obviously that way I can kind of just start showing you little by little kind of scenario. So we go this way, it's just what it looks. There you go. Add the basic corrections. And that's pretty much it when it comes down to this one for the 4K 24 frames. So now what I usually do is I can just hold Alt and just transfer over all these adjustments, or just kind of go across them because I'm not having anything in between. It saves a lot of time right now. And if I see that I kind of did them all in the same place, I usually just kind of copy my adjustments and paste them all to everything that's in the same area, paste them and just put lumetri color. And then if I need to do minor adjustments like this one, because it was the 60 frames per second, the shutter speed was different. What I usually just go ahead and do is just go to the basic correction, start seeing what I need to kind of bring back, maybe a little bit of the midtones, bring down the shadows, maybe bring this down and bring these maybe down, and then this one back up, because I don't want them to be too dark, if you will. And then from here I can start kind of seeing what it's affecting. If I want to just do that, and kind of should be fine. I mean, if I compare it to the other one, they're kind of relatively now similarly exposed. So that works out. We'll move on to the next one. I'll even copy this one instead because I feel like this one's going to be dark. Yep. So I'm going to remove the attributes and then just add the basically the same adjustments to this. And then from there, I'm just going to start doing minor adjustments. So bring the midtones up to me, maybe a little bit more of the exposure. So now if I were to I'm going to place them basically next side to each other, and that way you can see what they look like from the A7S3 to the A7 IV. You can see what I do. But yeah, those are basically how they both look side to side. That way you can get an idea of how I color grade. This is just my setup when it comes down to the S-Log3 footage that I do. I usually just like to keep and make sure that I have basically, if I go into right here to just, you know, obviously do my color grading, I simply just add my LUTs right on top of my footage, and then I start doing my color grading. I know a lot of other people do different scenarios, but this is just what works for me. This is how I do my methods. People were asking me how I color grade, and this is how I do it. I don't have any LUTs to currently sell, I guess, but eventually maybe I'll do it if people really want to have my type of LUTs and it'll help them out to create the content that they want to. I'll consider that in the future, so let me know if you would be interested in that. But other than that, that's pretty much when it comes down to my color grading. That's all that I really do for my footage with the S-Log3. It's what kind of changed up into from what I used to do with the S-Log2. So that's pretty much it. And that's everything that I want to show you guys with the way that I color grade. If you have any more questions, make sure to leave them down below in the comment section. And that's pretty much all I got for you. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.